this is Anna Catterson at Neosho County Community College, and today I'm showing you Camtasia Studio 8. If you are not familiar with Camtasia Studio 8, it is screen capturing or screen recording where you can record your desktop and any programs that you open are also being recorded. Camtasia Studio 8 also allows for you to have a webcam and will record audio. For example, this recording was done in Camtasia Studio 8. So, when you download Camtasia Studio 8, you'll want to go to Inside and See and log in and then select the Faculty Resources tab. And under that, there will be an option for you to choose Technology Resources. And then somewhere towards the middle of the screen, there's an option for software downloads, and you'll see both Camtasia and Snagit. Now, this lesson is over Camtasia Studio 8. However, there is another tutorial for Snagit. They're both different, but they came from the same product, the same company. Camtasia Studio 8 allows more advanced editing, which I'll show you here in a few minutes. Snagit is for quick videos, I would say less than 3 minutes, and if you want to take a photo of something on your screen, Snagit has some great resources for that as well. It's very similar to Snippet, but there are some advanced features with it. So let's get started and show you a little bit about Camtasia. When you download Camtasia, you will see that there are two icons that will appear on your desktop. The first one will be Camtasia Recorder, and the next one is Camtasia Studio 8. The Recorder feature allows you to go ahead and double click on that, and then this screen will appear. This screen is the dialog box where you have your capture, effects, tools, and help, but really what this is doing is it allows you to set what size dimensions do you want to record. I am recording one of my monitors, and I did a custom. By choosing that feature, you just click and drag out and you can highlight what you want to record. Another option is if you have a webcam, you can make it available, or you can also turn on your microphone. I have both my audio and my webcam available. That way you can hear me and see me at the same time. Your students will really appreciate that they'll be able to make that connection with your face and hear your voice. When you're ready, you can do a little test to see if the volume is at the correct level, and then you press the record button. It gives you a countdown. It'll say 3, 2, 1, and it will start recording. When you're ready to stop, you would press the F10 button on your keyboard, and that would stop it. You can also go under Tools and select some additional options, such as your pausing shortcut. If you wanted to pause or got interrupted, you could choose Shift 1, or just any shortcut on the keyboard would work. You could assign that under the Options menu. So keep that in mind and experiment with that as well. So once you have your recording made, immediately after you press F10 and stop it, it will launch into Camtasia Studio 8. So I'm going to go ahead and launch that program, and I'll show you what the program looks like. After you make your recording, remember that it will automatically go into the studio. But what if you have a video that you want to import in and that you didn't record? Well, I'll show you how to do that as well. This is the first screen that comes up in Camtasia Studio. It'll show you the recent projects if you have any. It will also give you the option to record the screen or import media. So while you do not have to use the shortcut, you could actually use that shortcut from inside. There's also a lot of free training inside of Camtasia, including tutorials and Camtasia Studio help and some documentation that's very important and can help you along your learning journey here. There's also a really nice education blog where you can see other faculty and how they're using it. In fact, some faculty have shared their videos, so if you wanted to use them, they are copyright free, and they've given you permission to use them for your own classes. So that might be something you want to look at a little further. So alright, so I'm going to go ahead and choose close, and if you don't want to see this screen every time it launches, you can select the checkbox at the left corner where it says show this dialog at startup. I'm going to go ahead and close out of this, and here we are at the Camtasia Studio. At the very bottom of the studio, this is called our timeline, and in older versions we only had 2 tracks. We had audio and video. In this one you can create multiple tracks, and it's called layering, so you can stack them on different levels. Here you have your timeline at the top, and you'll notice I don't have anything in here, no video. I haven't imported anything yet, but also note if you had previously recorded this, then that video would have already been embedded right into the timeline. In the midsection, we have our clip bin, the library, we have some callouts, zoom and pan, we have an audio feature which is tremendous, some nice transitions, and then there's a more link where you can have different cursor effects, visual properties, voice narration. This is very cool where you can type in your text and it will translate it to voice and vice versa. As I'm speaking, you can translate it into text. So if you have students that have different learning styles, your videos can be translated to a text form. That way you're making it available to multiple learning styles. We also have record camera, so while we're in our video, if we made a mistake or we left something out, we could re-record immediately right into our video. We have captions, and then this is my favorite option, which is quizzing. We now have the ability in Camtasia Studio 8 to embed a quiz into the video. So you quiz your students after they watch the video. Then you'll know if they really watched it or they just hit play and then decided to do something else. So we have some really great features here. Up at the top, if you need to go ahead and record your screen, you could choose that. But notice there's also an option for PowerPoint. If some of you prefer to use your PowerPoint slides, there's an option right here for you to record within PowerPoint. It's a plug-in in the program. So you could choose that option, locate your PowerPoint, and begin recording it. There's also an import media option. So if you wanted to locate a video that you have already made, you can locate that video and embed it right into the video, into the time frame. So let me go ahead and locate a video that I can import by selecting the Import Media button. And I believe I have a video here on my desktop I'm going to select. I have two MP4s. So just note that you can import many types of videos in, including MOVs, MP3s, MV-P4s, MP4s, all different kinds, Windows media files as well. So I'll go ahead and select this one, which is only 6 minutes long. Right, so notice up at the top, now that this video has been imported into our import media, our clip bin just has one element inside of it. And if you just move your mouse over it, it will tell you the size of it, the duration, and then what the dimensions were. Just because you imported it does not mean that it's actually in our movie. Kind of think of this as the actual movie down at the bottom. Up at the top, it's just a storage house of our graphics and our media clips. You can add this to your library by right-clicking on it and select Add to Library. Then the next time you open up the program, this library item will be found. So it will always be in your library if you add it there. That can be a very handy feature, so you don't have to go out and try to find all of your clips again. Especially if you're putting your name on your videos or contact information. If you added those things to the library, then they'll always be there for you to use for future reference. You can also right-click in the clip bin on one of your items and you can add it to the timeline at the playhead. The playhead is this long line that you can drag at any interval across horizontally the timeline. You have a green button and a red button. So if you wanted to highlight a particular area, you can split it and you can see how you can drag and drop it. So I'm going to put it at the very beginning, my playhead, and then I'm going to go ahead and right click on the video and add it to the timeline. Now immediately it asks you, what do you want your size to be? And I would always recommend choosing the default for which the video had been recorded. So the video had been recorded here at 640 by 480, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that's selected. The background color is really up to you. There are all kinds of colors to choose from. There's even an option for more background colors, and I'm going to go ahead and pull this up here. So if you wanted to actually match our Neosho County color scheme, you could put in the RGB values or the HSV values as well and add them to your custom color palette over here at the left. If you choose to do a white background, you can actually do some advanced features, and we'll talk about that in the second video training that you'll see. But anyway, you'll want to choose what kind of background you want. And I think for this, I'm just going to go ahead and go with black. And I'm going to select OK. Now at the bottom on your timeline, let me go ahead and maximize the screen. That way you can see it a little easier. At the very bottom of the timeline, you'll notice that the audio has been included with the video. So here's my video, and notice it has sizing handles, so I can resize the video if I want. Maybe I don't want it to be as large as my screen. I can resize it and add text or something around it if I'd like. They have these really nice sizing handles on it, so it just best fits the video on here. If you want to split the audio out from the video, you can right click on the track and decide to separate the video and the audio, and that way you can maybe make the audio louder or softer depending on your speaking voice, and you can do some video enhancements with color. The video is not very sharp or too dark, you could add some differences in that. So I'm going to choose that option, and you'll see now my audio is on the top line and my video is on the bottom, so I have two tracks. Now, these little lock buttons are very handy as well. I've been practicing with these. If you want to lock this, and lock means you're not going to make any changes to it. Sometimes that can be handy, especially if you're afraid you're going to make changes to this and you don't want to make changes to this one. You can lock particular tracks down. So keep that in mind as you go. And you can continue to grow these tracks the further up you go. If you want to play your video, you hit the space bar.
Okay, this is Adobe Photoshop, and this is an advanced tutorial on how to colorize a graphic.
So pressing spacebar again will allow you to play and pause the video. And note that you can use the green and the red to drag parts of the video. So if you make a mistake somewhere in the video that you need to split out, you could use the playhead and locate where that mistake was made and easily select it, right click, you can split it and then delete it. So it's very easy to go in and manipulate the text and the audio together. Right, I'm going to start at the beginning. I want to show you a few other features up here towards the midsection that I think you might find interesting. But first I'll go ahead and just resize this video just a tad. Put it more towards the center of the screen. And I'm going to use my playhead, and I'm going to go to a particular area that I want to highlight. This video is actually showing them how to make an image grayscale and then change part of the image to color. So this is an important process, is changing the saturation levels. So if I want to highlight that, there are some different callouts that we can add. Take a look at all of these callouts that you can put on your video. Some of them are just shapes that you can add text to. Others are just plain shapes. The sketch motion is very creative. It will draw a box. I'll show you what that looks like. It'll draw a box directly on top of your image like this, and then you could make it different sizes Over on the left you have different border, a different fill, and some effects to it as well, and how long you want that box to draw out. So let's see, I want to put it right on top of that saturation level, for example. I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller, and if that's what I want to highlight, watch what happens here.
Down, saturation all the way down, and choose OK.
See how that box was drawn? So the sketch is kind of fun, and if you want to change it, you can just remove this by selecting the remove callout, and we can go back and look at some additional callout features. There's a transparent hotspot, there's a highlighter tool that you could use, and you can just reshape it so you can draw interest to that. You can add text as well. Go ahead and select the text tool and choose a different color border if you want. And then in this box is where you type in your text. Spell it right. And then you can highlight it, make it bold. You can change your color of your font. Box a little bigger. So it's very easy to add a call out. You can also add fade in and fade out if you want the text to fade in. I'll show you what that looks like.
And choose OK. Now the pixels are they're sharp, and
so if we wanted to resize this and maybe not show the text box so long, then we would just easily click on this placeholder and drag it towards the timeline to make it smaller. So maybe we only wanted to go that distance.
And choose OK. Now the pixels are...
yeah, perfect. So you were able to highlight an element in the video by using text, and notice that there's all different kinds of options to use. Those are just a couple of examples, but these can be very helpful. I've also used text boxes like this. You can use a square text box, and you can choose what fill color you want. I'm going to go with black. Make it a little bit bigger. But what if you wanted maybe to hide part of the video? You could use it as that as well. That way you can, if you had a part of the video that you didn't want seen, then you could use these shapes to sort of cover up, if you will, the video. So they can be used as in different ways. They don't just have to be call-outs. They can also work the video into something else. So I'm going to go ahead and undo that a couple of times, and Control-Z will be your best friend in Camtasia. Control-Z is a shortcut for undo. All right. There's also some zoom in and pan options you will want to locate in the area that where you want to zoom in at. So if this is the area that you want to zoom in, and if you ever get something like this where it highlights and you don't want to make a selection, if you just double click one time, it'll take that back to the regular position. And then here's your zoom features, so you can zoom in all the way up to 100% if you'd like. You can also scale it too by selecting the sizing handles. So zoom and pan is a neat feature. And then let's see if we can adjust the audio. You'll notice some of my audio, especially in this area, is a little lower. So you want to start the cursor or start your timeline about at the point where the volume is at its low point. And then I'm going to use the red handle and select all of the area in the timeline that the volume is not as high. So about right in here. Now, if you want to go ahead and increase the volume, we have a very nice audio feature in Camtasia Studio 8 where you can pump up the volume, and you'll notice that one selection right here is being increased to match the others. And that is a very incredible feature. You'll like that. There's also a silence feature as well. So if you want to not have any audio over your video at that point, you can do that as well. Now remember, this is for any video that you import. It doesn't matter what the format is. You can do this with any type of video formatting. So very cool. Right, the second option here is transitions, and this is where the advancements come with Camtasia. I'm going to start at the very beginning. If you wanted to have an introduction in your video, then you'd definitely want to do a transition at the beginning to that. Also, in the library, there's quite a few themes that you can apply. Just kind of scroll up and you'll see there's music themes. There's also, under each of the themes, you'll find an animated title. There's some call-outs that are customized for that particular theme. So let me find one here and I'll show you what I mean. If you want to use, select one of these, and if you wanted to use it, I'm going to right-click it and add it to the timeline, or you can preview it if you'd like. This is the title that would be before the video. So if you didn't like it, you could go and find another one that maybe was more fitting. Oop, that's just music. You want to look for themes. Not too bad. We'll go with it. So I'm going to put this at the timeline. But you'll notice my audio and my video are starting at the same time. So what I'm going to do is select my track 2 and just drag it so it starts right after the title. I'm going to do the same thing with my video. So my audio and video have been moved to start right after my title does. So with the title, you can edit it. There's a little plus sign here that allows you to open it up, and you can see that there is text. There's a text box here. So I just double click on that text, and now I can type in my text. Make my text box a little larger. You can change to a different font style if you like. It's really up to you how you want to design your slide. You could put your name here, the semester and the year, your course name. You know, you could be as descriptive as you want. All right, and then after you have your title in there, so go ahead and hit play. Looks like that's running for quite a while. 20 seconds is quite a long time for a title. Let's shorten that up. Let's change this. I'm just going to click on the end and drag it in. Come on. Right on the edge. Drag it in. And then I'll need to move both of these over as well. So I'm going to hold down Shift and select them both at the same time, and then drag and drop them over. So now we have our title that will start for around 4 seconds, and then the video will begin to play. So let's see what that looks like.
Okay, this is Adobe Photoshop.
Got a nice little title in there, and it's very easy to do. You can use any of the themes in the library to do that. And I would encourage you to put your name on it, as well as what lecture it was for, what class, and maybe the semester and year too. Would be an easy way for you to keep a straight on what's what. Now, for the transitions, they do have a few transitions that you can apply, and the transition would be from track to track. So if you wanted to fade the title out and start in the music, then you could use this fade option. You click and hold, and you drag and you drop it directly on top. So you'll see that it has a little bit of a fade effect before we go into the next track. And there's all different kinds of transitions that you can choose from. There's a pixelet, radial blur, page roll, and so forth, zigzag, all kinds of styles. So once you're done with your video, and this is just the basics here today, this is just to get you started and understanding how the tracks work, you're ready then to finally produce and share, which is the best part. You want to go up to the top, which is the third option, produce and share. And there are some features to share to YouTube or screencasts. I would recommend just selecting produce and share. And then this is the custom Camtasia production wizard. And what you'll want to do is choose the drop down menu here and go all the way down to the bottom and select custom production settings. From this menu, go ahead and select next. Here are the recommended options: MP4, HTML5 player, Windows Movie, AVI, there's a QuickTime Movie, M4V for iPod and iPhones. So there are some options available for you. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky. If you plan on embedding this video directly into Inside NC, then I would recommend either the Windows Media or the movie file. If you decide to go to YouTube, then I would choose the top option, which is recommended. Now, the reason you would not want to choose this top option for Inside NC is that it's flash enabled, which that means that if someone's on their iPad, they're going to have a hard time reviewing it. So I would recommend choosing the first two options if you're going to Inside NC, or you can choose the top option if you're going to YouTube. I'm going to pretend this is going on my YouTube channel, so I'm going to select next. Now, we also have some other options we can produce with a controller. The controller is at the bottom. It has the play button and your pause and your volume and your full screen. And they have a couple of options to choose from. Really, it's just personal preference. They all do the same thing. You can also tell it to pause at start or play immediately. If you put it on YouTube, this is overwritten. It will always not play. They'll have to hit play in order for it to work. So this button may not have a lot of control to it. There is a size feature. Again, I just keep it the same as what the video had been recorded. There's some video settings, some audio settings, and then some options as well where you can include a table of contents if you'd like, or captions, or closed captions. And there's some quizzing options which we don't have. I'm going to go ahead and choose next. Here's where you can put in your name and your copyright information on your file. If you select options, there's quite a bit of information there that you can fill in. This is very important to do. If I were you, I would definitely plug in all of this information, because if you go to YouTube and somebody decides to embed it or rip it from the site, this information does not get deleted off of the video. It will always be embedded with it. So that's great information to have. There's also a watermark feature that you can include, maybe Neosho's logo if you wanted to put that on there, and then the image of where that's at. I'm going to go ahead and select next again. You want to give your production a name, and I don't like to use any spaces. You want to try to be as precise as you can. So if this were a Photoshop class, so I'm putting in the class name and the semester and year. You might also want to attach what lecture it is. Come up with some sort of naming system so you'll remember where it's at, and then decide where you want to save it to, and then finally finish. Now, depending on the length of the video will depend on how long that the video needs to be rendered. Sometimes if you have a very long video, like long being over 45 minutes, then yes, the video will take a while to render. In another video, such as this one that's only 6 minutes long, it's not going to take very long to render, maybe 2 to 3 minutes tops. So keep that in mind. The shorter the video, really the better. Remember, you don't want too long of a video where your students are going to become distracted. 15-20 minutes is good enough for a video, and if you have to record more, just make it into a couple of parts. That way they're not listening for 45 minutes or 60 minutes at a time. You keep their attention better for 15 or 20, and throw in an interactive quiz at the end. So here you can see that my video is done. It was that quick. It's going to open it up for me so I can view it immediately. This is how it would look on the web. Went ahead and hit the play button, and now my video will begin.
Okay, this is Adobe Photoshop, and this is an advanced tutorial on how to colorize a graphic.
Go ahead and hit the pause button here. I want to show you what that looks like on your desktop or wherever you save it to. It'll save it into a folder for you. Let me finish this. And it will save it into a folder with that name that you called it onto your desktop, and I'm just looking to find mine. So here's the folder that it outputted, CSIS, the same name I gave it. And if I double click it, it's going to open up all of this contents. There's quite a bit in here. There's an HTML file, there's the Flash file, as well as the actual video. It also has scripts and skins. Really the most important one is the MP4, the MPEG right here. That's the one that you would use for Inside NC. That's the one you would use for YouTube. This is the MP4 that you've created. All of this all these other files are just support files for it. If you ever move it, you'll want to take all of them, but this is the only file that you need to upload. I hope you enjoyed this first lesson in Camtasia. Remember, this is just the basics. There will be an advanced tutorial that you can watch and learn how to do quizzing and narration. Thanks for joining me.